Hello, chocolatiers and recently appointed sheriffs, coming to you from the Leonard Smith Jr. podcast studio in Burbank, California. This is season 6 of the Film versus Film podcast. My name is Quinn Boys. I have seen over a dozen films in my lifetime, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host. You may have seen him if you were watching a little program called The Super Bowl last month, the newly famous Leonard Smith Jr. What's up, Leonard?
What up?
Welcome back.
Hey, guys, stop taking my photos, please. I'm trying to do a podcast. Who let you in?
They barely let you. Every time Leonard opens and closes the door into a room, there's a flash of light bulbs coming from wherever he's just been. It's got to be exhausting.
It's very exhausting. You know, I just got done. That's right. I was just playing quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Was that where we saw you?
That's where you saw me. No, okay. You might have seen me looking stoic and horny on an Uber Eats commercial. If not, go look me up.
And if not, you've been cut because we're filming this before the Super Bowl, so it is possible. No, you're going to be in there. I'm not trying to throw that at you.
Damn. Diddy is not listening to this podcast, okay? I'm not worried about that at all. No, this is out before that. I will make sure this episode doesn't come out until after the Super Bowl. Anyways, we are here today, and it's our first episode of the season. We're super excited.
Yeah, we're not here to talk about sport.
We're not here to talk about
sport. Film.
We're here to do something that we've never done before, and that's break the time barrier in laws.
That's right.
Yeah, yes. we broke our number, the first rule ever created on Film versus Film podcast.
Really, our only rule. We did that for our guests this week.
We broke it for our guests.
You will introduce, but we should say we don't break this rule. So this is
we never break this rule, and we're breaking this rule because the people have been clamoring.
Yeah.
They have been clamoring. They have been upset. I've got a lot of angry DMs, okay, because it's been too long. It's been too long of a wait for us to have this guest. I'm talking about 1/7 member of Lemon Pepper Wet, actor, all around handsome, tall man.
Oh, jeez.
We are talking about. You may have seen him by this time came out in Kansas City on tour with Second City. Our man, Acquah Dansoh. What's up, Acquah?
What up, people? Leonard, it took you way too long to have me on here. It's not Quinn's fault, America. I just want y'all to know. We know whose fault it is. It is my dog, Leonard. He's still my man, though.
Hey, man.
Acquah, how does it feel to be the last member of Lemon Pepper Wet to guest on the pod?
Quinn, you now out of the family, dog. That was a stat I did not need to know. The last.
You are the last member. Yeah. But hold on.
But he was just doing it in order of his favorites.
No. No.
Then I'm last favorite.
I will say this. You were the last member to join Lemon Pepper Wet. So that's a factor.
Okay.
Can't deny that.
All right, Leonard's fighting back a little bit.
Acquah was a late addition.
I could still get cut too.
Acquah was
listen.
We're not here to talk about that.
If Diddy's listening, Leonard's commercial's not coming out, and Aqua's out of Lemon Pepper Wet.
Yeah, hey man, we're gonna have to let you go.
Diddy should do like a making the improv.
Oh
band.
Yeah, I'm shutting down the studio.
I'm shutting down the space.
Oh my god. Okay, well we got Acquah Dansoh here. We're super excited, and Acquah, like we said earlier, we broke our rule. We're doing 70s comedies today.
We have a rule on this podcast, Acquah, as I'm sure you know. Everyone must know because everyone listens, including Diddy.
Yes.
We are cinéistes. We know everything there is to know about film, but we do not know about movies from before 1980. So when Acquah gratefully accepted the offer to be on this podcast many years too late, we asked him for his prompt, and he said, "How about best 70s comedy?" And Leonard and I texted, like, "What are we gonna do?"
I was like,
alarms were going
off.
off.
The 70s.
The 1970s. The 1970s. Damn.
Best era to make a movie was the 70s.
Yeah. Oh wow.
In fact, if I could quote you, tell me if I'm wrong here. I think you said let's do best 70s comedy. ... You could get away with a lot more shit back then.
That is exactly
your thinking, right?
Because you are cinephiles and you two are so goddamn amazing. I wanted to do the 70s because, listen, the 70s were wild.
Yeah.
Like, you could literally do anything in the 70s and it was okay.
Yeah, that's true.
The 80s, you could kind of still do some things. In the 90s, it was kind of like, yeah, we can get away with this. But, like, the 70s, bruh, you could get away with calling people the N-word. And it was just like, oh, that's funny. I mean, that was the time of Pryor. That's Pryor and Gene Wilder. That's, Mel Brooks. That's, like, so many people out there who were so damn funny just letting it go.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and reveal our picks.
We're getting our picks, and shouts to the 70s celebrating.
Shout out to Gene Wilder because he is in both of our films.
Gene Wilder, yeah.
My film, like Quinn stated earlier, I haven't watched that many movies from the 70s, and we started this podcast about nostalgia and our feelings and blind spots and culturally and stuff. But I went with, this goes across all cultures and societies, is Willy Wonka. I mean, everybody's seen Willy Wonka. Everyone knows Willy Wonka. And that was my choice. It held a great place in my heart. I don't really feel like I don't need to explain Willy Wonka, but I will.
You sound slightly defensive about it already.
Well, I mean, if
I don't
you're
need to explain Willy Wonka to you people.
Well, in the podcast,
No,
we like to
of course,
explain
of
our
course,
movies, but
of
it's
course.
like, it's a movie about Charlie Bucket. What a name. Poor Charlie Bucket. He's a poor little boy living in, I still don't know where he lived.
I think they filmed in some depressing German factory town, but I think it's
they
supposed to
never
be
like
America.
The streets of London, but it could have been
I know. I really
anywhere.
thought it was like England. Somewhere
you're
in
right.
England.
Well,
Not
is
London.
Charlie Bucket? Some of the characters are not all the characters are English though. Like Grandpa
Yeah,
Joe's
no.
The
American.
accents are not there.
And
Yeah,
they kind of flip. No, they get people from America. They get people from Germany. They're from all over the world. So, but they don't ever really state where he is. But wherever he is, I always thought England. Somewhere in England, he's in a poor little family with his mother and his bedridden grandparents. Willy Wonka is the greatest candy maker in the world. He's putting on a competition. I forgot about the aspect that no one was ever seen coming in or out, and there was a big mystery behind what's happening in the factory. And
he's like the
then-
Howard Hughes of chocolate.
Exactly. And then Willy Wonka is giving a once-in-a-lifetime experience where 5 people can get a golden ticket. You have to buy a bunch of golden tickets. Charlie is poor as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
He's
He can't
having
be out
cabbage
here.
and laundry soup for dinner.
Exactly. And he gets a golden ticket. He goes into Willy Wonka's factory, experiences it. We'll talk more about it. You know it. And it's a fun time. A lot of mishaps and things happen. And Gene Wilder is Willy Wonka, and he's a treat.
Absolutely. It is. I'm laughing not because you did an expert job summarizing Willy Wonka. It's just funny because it's been probably my whole life where no one's ever had to explain them, because it feels like exactly your point, like such a foundational film. You see it when you're young. No one's ever had to explain the plot of Willy Wonka. You just say Willy Wonka, and people are like, "Oh yeah, chocolate guy, chocolate river. I know it." So it is funny to hear you do it. I'm going to get to my movie in just a minute, but before we do, Leonard, I neglected in praising you and your recent fame to bring up the shirt you're wearing right now as part. So as I mentioned, this is the first episode of season 6 of the podcast. Season 5 of the podcast ended very well for me. I was able to break your mid 2000s Patriots run of dominance.
Yeah, you can never get 4 in a row, man. It's always a 3-peat.
Exactly. Jordan couldn't do it. Tom Brady couldn't do it.
Lakers couldn't do it.
Jeter couldn't do it. I put him on the same level. I'm a Yankee fan. I'm biased. Now, the point is, you were wearing a shirt that is the official loser shirt for season 5 of the Film vs. Film podcast. You will have to wear it. I think we discussed you're going to have to wear it at the weekly stand-up show that you host. Can you just say, for the benefit of our listeners who do not have the visual aid, what it says on your shirt, which is officially branded? It's got the logo,
It's
the
glorious.
Film VP logo.
I'm sure this will probably get posted on our
Yeah,
Instagram
we'll
page.
post it for those who are looking.
But yes, if you haven't seen it, I am wearing a "I don't eat ass, so stop asking me" shirt.
Right. And why is this funny other than the fact that you have to wear it?
Well, it's funny that I have to wear this and that it's bright orange and it's
It is
red.
Nickelodeon orange, yeah.
It's bright orange with yellow and black writing, and it looks funny, and it looks like I bought it at Myrtle Beach. But, it is funny because if you've heard my stand-up, you know I eat ass. I have the word ass tattooed on my arm because you are what you eat. And
It's kind of your brand. in
It
a
is
way.
my
I
brand.
was so confused when I saw you wearing that shirt. I was like, that's a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie. So now people are going to be out here thinking that I don't eat ass. The shirt completely misrepresents me and everything that I stand for and the brand that I have been building on stage for years.
Right. I'm just trying to slow your roll a little bit.
I just want to say for anybody who's like, oh, what kind of punishment is that? That's not a real punishment. It's a punishment, okay?
If you eat ass, it is.
If you eat ass and you love it and you're not ashamed. Also, I had to write a fucking bullshit ass review on nuggets. I don't have to say it anymore. During the punishment, I had to say boneless wings, but you won't hear me say that again. I had to use Yelp and tell people I like Chili's wings forever. So whenever like the Last of Us apocalypse happens and somebody gets access to the internet, they're going to be able to see that I said that I like boneless wings, specifically from Chili's.
I just feel like you've had a lot of personal success in the intervening months between our last season and this one. I'm just trying to slow your roll a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
This is just like a good friend. I'm holding you down.
Oh, yeah. Well,
tracks.
I feel like you're tag teaming me because I had to go to both your weddings. You know, I don't like going to weddings. But actually, both of your weddings were very pleasant. You actually had them in the state that I was in. I didn't have to travel and spend a bunch of fucking money to go to your wedding.
We catered our weddings to you
specifically.
Appreciate.
I was supposed to be in Mexico, and I said, "Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have Leonard stay in L.A."
Yeah, specifically for me. I was ready. I was going to Mexico.
Oh, no, I know.
I was ready to go. I had my passport. I was like, bitch, I'm going to Mexico.
And then the cartel said, nah.
And the cartel said, no.
No. They literally said, you can't come here.
Damn.
But, you know, congratulations on, since the last time we were on a podcast, both these men have been married. You know what I'm saying? Married men.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Congrats to you, Acquah.
Congrats to you,
You guys, you talk about Blazing Saddles. I'm going to go grab my charger for my laptop.
All right. Well, while Leonard's grabbing his struggles, I will talk about my film, which is Blazing Saddles, another Gene Wilder pick, but I'm just going to add in the little detail for you, Acquah, because I feel like you appreciate comedy. You know what it's all about.
A little bit.
I ordered this shirt for Leonard, which we will post the picture on our socials so everyone can see and enjoy. Leonard, incidentally, that's a good shirt if you're ever running at night. because, but so I put it in and I get it with Printful, which is a wonderful service that I guess I'm plugging right now, which Leonard has used for many articles of clothing that he wears. But I got an email from their support like the day after I ordered it, and it was very helpful. It was Adrian at Printful, so shouts to Adrian. Thank you very much. And he said, hey, just want to let you know some of the text, the I don't eat ass text that I had, is outside, falls outside the our print area, so it might get clipped. We don't want it to get clipped. So I had like an 8 email back and forth exchange with the helpful people at Printful, just making its size. And I'm thinking, what's the customer support job where this guy's looking at this shirt, which says, I don't eat ass, stop asking. Never once asks me, hey, also, by the way, what's this shirt for? He's just like, let me help you size it right.
That's none of my business, boss.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, you know what? Don't ask a question you don't want the answer to. So I would have, of course, said podcast prank, and he would have said, oh, I get it now. But shouts to people at Printful. They will help you with whatever your shirt says, and they will help you get it right and looking good like Leonard. Let's talk about my film, though. My film is another Gene Wilder film, as we've discussed, the famous Willy Wonka. This came 3 years after. So your movie was 1971, Leonard. I got 1974. This is a Mel Brooks comedy starring Cleavon Little and Gene Wilder. Written by, I think amongst Brooks, I think you, just because you mentioned Richard Pryor in Richard Pryor has I don't know if he was uncredited in the original, but he's credited as a writer on IMDb. He's not in the film, but you can definitely feel his influence
100%.
on a lot of the content. This is a parody of Westerns. It's a parody of like American Western films that dominated the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It's a parody of, I don't know what I'd say, a parody, a commentary, a satire, I guess, on race relations in the U.S.
Yep.
Like, well, first of all, today, but also in the 70s and also historically. I think it has makes a lot of hay with that. And it's sort of just like a zany Mel Brooks comedy. This came out the same year as Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks' other classic from the 70s, Young Frankenstein. And I feel like we don't talk enough about, I mean, obviously Mel Brooks has a lot to do with that, but like the heater that Gene Wilder was on in the 70s, because then he actually does start making films with Richard Pryor. I wonder if they knew each other prior to this, or maybe this is how they knew each other, like Blue Streak.
Blue Streak's amazing.
And like I don't know, I just feel like...
Wait.
Did I just say Blue Streak when I meant to say... Blue Streak is the
Silver
Martin Lawrence
Streak.
film. Silver Streak.
Okay, I was like, wait, is Blue Streak a Gene Wilder remake?
No, my bad.
It's Silver Streak.
Silver Streak, which is about Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor on a train. It's like a case of mistaken identity movie.
Whoa, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it.
That's
Silver Streak's
76.
amazing.
So I'm saying like
The 70s, man.
there's a ton of good answers to this question. I think, Acquah, you're absolutely right. There's stuff in the 70s that you just, for better or worse, we'll probably talk about that, don't see today, but also like you wouldn't have seen 10 years later maybe. And I think I could have maybe picked... Well, I'm not going to get into defending my choice, but I guess it's like I could have picked a lot of those movies, but I picked the one that I saw at a relatively young age that I feel like inspired a lot of what I appreciate about comedy. It also probably like, you know, I feel like we're much more conscious of things that are in comedies today. So it's an interesting thing to talk about. I'm interested to see what you guys thought about it. Leonard, you'd never seen it, so I'm interested in your takes as well. I'll just say to wrap up the plot, it's basically Cleavon Little. He plays the the newly appointed sheriff of Rock Ridge.
A black sheriff?
A black sheriff. He is set up by a corrupt politician played by Mel Brooks. They're basically hoping when they make him sheriff that he will be killed. Like right away, and so there's a lot to do with that, and it's basically how he, with the help and aid of Gene Wilder, who he meets in a drunk tank in the prison that he runs, they kind of take the town back from the people that are conspiring against them. It's that simple.
Gene Wilder with the fastest
hands of the Waco Kid.
He was the Waco Kid,
and that was the thing. It was like they really couldn't bully them because he just could have the power. He had the power to that scene where like they all have their guns and he just shoots all 6 guns out of their hands.
Yeah,
wild.
Shit.
Yeah. So that's my movie. How do we want to get into this? Well, I guess we could say, Acquah, what's your? Let's start to you.
How did you feel? Like,
have you seen these movies? How did you feel about these movies? What were your general thoughts on them?
I've seen both movies. Quinn, you brought a really funny thing up about seeing something like that as a kid and how that shapes the way you look at comedies. I don't remember the first time I saw Blazing Saddles as a kid. I'm sure it was like on TV. And I kind of saw it and was just kind of like, okay. But because I was so young, Willy Wonka, that came on. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to sit down and watch this. But it wasn't until I watched Robin Hood Men in Tights, another Mel Brooks movie. And there's that callback line of when they make Dave Chappelle's character a Chew, the sheriff, and everybody goes, a black sheriff? And something in my mind went, wait, where have I heard that before? And then it was just a callback to Blazing Saddles, in which she says, hey, it worked in Blazing Saddles, nigga. So, like it's funny how you see things as a kid and how they shape your comedy palette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I grew up watching all sorts of things, but also I listened to, like, Red Fox records like my dad had. I listened to Bill Cosby tapes, so like I was listening to like some stuff that I shouldn't have been listening to, probably most likely. Any of it, watching that as a kid, it didn't strike me as much as it struck me as an adult, and I was like, yo, this is brilliant. And watching Willy Wonka as a kid, I was like, yo, this is the greatest movie. And now as an adult, I watched it, I'm like, man, half them kids could have gone. Like Charlotte, she could go. Charlie, you spending your last ducat on a chocolate bar, my guy? Like, what?
Yeah, there's something. Let's get into the logic.
Right, before
of
we
Willy
get into
Wonka.
that,
Yeah.
Was there anything you thought we might have picked, or that you thought?
Oh yeah,
would
that's
come
a good
up as
question.
choice?
Was there did you have an answer to this prompt when you suggested it to us? Like, do you have a favorite 70s?
Oh
comedy
yeah,
or
I
something?
absolutely
Or
had a
number of
favorite
favorites,
70s. I have a bunch, but I'm not going to give them to you.
We haven't earned those. So.
No, you'll get that at the very end of the show.
Okay.
Y'all got to keep listening.
Tease it. I like it.
All right,
well, let's talk about does Willy
let's go ahead
Wonka
and talk about Willy Wonka. The first thing I want to talk about is give me the list of who you hate the most from bottom to top. So who you hate the least to who you hate the most in this movie.
I kind of always saw I never saw Mike TV as that bad when I was a kid. As a kid who watched a lot of TV myself, I get that they're all brats, but I was like, I thought they're
super brats.
All right, let's just start with the kids for sure.
I'm pulling up the
there's
kids.
Augustus Gloop.
Yeah.
There's Mike TV. There's Charlie Bucket. There's Veruca Salt, and then there's Violet Beauregard.
Yep.
Oh, that was her name, Violet.
The Big Five.
The Big Five. I mean, I feel like the worst parent for sure was
Violet's or Veruca's dad?
Yeah, Violet's. No, Veruca. Yeah, Veruca. Mr. Salt.
Veruca's dad, who had his entire
Salt.
factory
Let me
just
buy
shelling
it. Yeah,
candy
let me
bars
buy
so
it.
they
Yeah,
could
and they
find it.
fucking you get a 1 pound increase. All right, now what I had forgotten about in the aspect of this movie while you think about your list of who you hate, because I already know who's at the top of my list. I want to give you yours. I want you to give me yours before I give you mine. But I forgot about the fact that, like, first of all, you don't see Willy Wonka or Gene Wilder for the first 45 minutes of this movie.
Yep.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yep.
Because that's all you remember from the movie. And I loved how they blew out the world and they heightened the joke. I'm really prepared for Harold auditions right now. So I'm like seeing everything through this lens of what is the joke and what is this world. And I forgot about just like even the the little bit where you're like, your husband's been kidnapped. And,
oh yeah, that's some of the funniest stuff in this movie.
Yeah, it's like your husband gets kidnapped. He's like, what do I have to do? I have to do everything. I'll give whatever. And he's like, what do they? And they're like, oh, they call. He's like, what do they want? They want your final box of Willy Wonka. And she's like, let me think about it. Like that shit was great. Then like just all them like the whole search for it and how they really built up Charlie is really poor and like he's got it tough out here. Like I appreciate that they took the time to kind of build this world before getting to like the stuff that we all really wanted.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it kind of felt like a normal movie until like the Willy, which makes Willy Wonka and the Factory just so much more wackier when you're watching it.
I mean, I think you do. I often forget that like you go deep into that movie before you see Gene Wilder, where you see Willy Wonka, and he's been mythologized like the whole previous 45 minutes. The whole search is like adding to that, and then I think he has in that movie one of the great like character introductions of all time too. He does that
the limp
that
walk
slow
for like
limp
45,
into the somersault.
It's like a minute.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like the original Kaiser Soze walk right there.
For real. And then the cane just stops, and you're like,
I love that it sticks.
Yeah.
It like sticks in a certain point. Yeah, I feel like I believe I might be misremembering this, but in my research for these movies, I think that was Gene Wilder's idea too, where he's like, because that's not in the book. I've read the book. I remember reading the book as a kid after I'd seen the movie, but it probably made me interested in reading the book. Like that was Gene Wilder's idea. He's like, I want to just like I think his reasoning was, and it bears out, is like once you see that, you will never trust this character again. You know, like the first thing he's doing is lying about a limp. And then he's like, nope, I'm young and spry. You know, it's like, is this guy fucked up? Like, I think it's a great microcosm of the rest of the movie and that character. But.
Especially for the first time you see him. You've gone 45 minutes, you haven't seen him, and you just see this hobbling shell of a man. And he's like, gotcha, bitch.
he's like all stern looking. And
I think, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we can rank him. I don't know if it's like Steven the Kids. I don't know if you have like a comedic premise with your thing of who's the worst. So I don't want to step on you, Leonard.
it's not even the kids. It's just,
I think Willy Wonka's the worst.
You think Willy Wonka's the worst?
Yeah. I mean, we could get into some, like, I'm just saying if we're putting him in the real world, if we're putting this dark East German town in America somewhere or wherever it's supposed to be and pretending it's real, this guy is, first of all, he's sending the world crazy just for a tour of his chocolate factory. That's fine. People want to do it. But then he's like making him sign a contract that goes so low that you can't possibly read what you're signing to. And then he's just like offing these children. And I know.
Clearly you've never hung out with Beyonce. Her NDA is crazy.
I have not hung out with Beyonce, though. If she's interested, I'm around. I can make time. But no, I mean, would you sign a contract that went down into dust that you couldn't see the end
I have
of?
signed contracts like that. I'm an actor. I hate it.
Bro, I didn't look at my Uber contract. I just fucking signed it.
In fairness, every contract I received in 12-point font, I probably haven't read all the way through, but I trust that they at least put all the details in there for
The
me. Then it's
scariest
on
thing
me.
you're going to see in there is when it says in perpetuity. And I've seen that several times, and I just went, I really shouldn't be signing this. But I need to check. Here we go.
Okay, though. There's one part that you did not say that makes Willy Wonka the worst.
Oh, there's more stuff, but yeah. What are you
going to? No. I want you to
the
say
fact that he owns slaves.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Are they slaves?
He saved them. There is a very good story. There's a womp or a snorkel butt, whatever. That would eat all of them up 10 at a time.
Definitely not snorkel butt.
No, it was definitely a snorkel butt.
He is a white savior. Okay, he saved those Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, just in the same way that if you
torture.
ever seen the Mel Gibson movie The Patriot, all the people that were working on his plantation were there of their own free will. If we want to, that is the same thing.
Okay.
However you sleep at night, Leonard.
No. I get it. I understand how Willy is considered bad, but he knew he was dealing with shitty people. He knew what was happening, and he was testing them. He was testing my boy Charlie. It was all an act. He said it at the end.
They even sing songs while they work. I mean, this is like a pretty clear slave parallel.
Wow.
It is.
You know,
it is.
It
I
is
can't
still
deny
Black
that.
History Month, and you are hitting that slave parallel pretty hard, my guy.
I'm going to rest
It's
it
there.
now, but I feel like I'm the only person reflecting on
No,
it.
I was about to hit it hard.
All right.
I was about to hit it
I
hard.
never saw it like that.
Now, truthfully,
Now
that's
I
one of
can't
those like
unsee it.
adult, woke Willy Wonka kind of viewings
Yeah.
of it. I never viewed it as a child as wrong because they say like I saved these people, but I do think we have different language for stuff like
And it's
that.
like, where the fuck are Oompa Loompas gonna thrive in the real world?
Exactly. So how are they slaves? If they was out in the street, bro, they would get mugged.
They would not do well.
They would get assaulted.
They would be in Charlie's mom's soup. She's just like doing like she does soup and she does laundry and she like stirs it with the same big like wooden paddle.
I just want to see like the Oompa Loompas, see if like one of the black kids show up and like, are the Oompa Loompas racist?
Yeah, you got a point there.
Okay, no, all right. Well, as far as the kids go, I feel like the worst is, and I'm not even talking to kids. I'm talking to all the characters. Willy's up there. TV was pretty annoying.
He's
the
just
whole
annoying.
Like just shooting kid, but like,
Yeah.
I
He was
bang, you're dead. It's
Super
like, whoa,
annoying.
what's
Like,
wrong
we've
with
all
you, kid?
seen that kid, and you just want to see him get pushed in the river.
Yeah. Violet wasn't that bad. She was kind of pushy. Her dad was more annoying than she was.
She just liked gum. They did
Yeah.
have like weird levels
Yeah,
of like
Violet wasn't
what
that
the
annoying.
sins are of the
Augustus
children.
was just a greedy fucker. I resonated with Augustus.
Augustus was kind of a glutton, but you don't need to to kill him because he's a little chubby.
I love how it looks like Willy pushed him into the river, but he doesn't. If you watch, Willy does not push him into the river. He just falls in.
Because he was eating too much damn chocolate.
Yeah, he told him not to. You're not supposed to be just drinking out of his river like that.
But also, what was in that chocolate, bro?
Something.
Right?
Something was in
it was
that
giving me cocaine vibes. 'Cause my man was in it.
By far, the worst kid is Veruca.
Yeah.
And her dad also really fucking salt. They both were the worst.
Yeah.
I feel like Willy's still back. TV's mom was kind of annoying too. She's still kind of back, but Willy's kind of back. But the worst, Charlie's cool. I fuck with Charlie. The worst character, even though he's the worst character, is Grandpa Joe.
I knew that's where you're going.
Grandpa Joe.
Get into it.
Okay. Grandpa Joe can eat a fat dick. All
Get
right.
into it.
20 years you've been sitting in this bed, Grandpa. 20 goddamn years.
Tell him.
You've been sitting in this bed. Oh, I wish I could get out of bed. Oh, cabbage and laundry soup. Oh, I'm paying money for my tobacco. Tobacco? You smoking tobacco? Charlie out here working. He got bread. His first paycheck, he getting you bread, giving you money for tobacco. And as soon as this nigga win a golden ticket, oh, my feet work. My legs work.
Start dancing.
Oh, let's go, Charlie.
Yeah, he can not only stand, he can dance.
He can dance. Get my top hat. Watch me do a jig.
Fuck Grandpa Joe. And then Grandpa Joe's like, hey, let's try this soda. Charlie doesn't want to try the soda.
He doesn't.
Grandpa Joe convinces Charlie to drink that soda in the bubble fucking whatever area, testing area. And he's the one who sets him up. And then at the end, he's like, nah, let's take this gobstopper to Slugworth and we'll get money from him. And Charlie was like, nah, Grandpa Joe. You a bitch ass nigga, Grandpa Joe.
Bingo.
I'm going to do the right thing and I'm going to get this. And then he's like, oh, it's an elevator. Nigga, it's a Wonkavator. You heard what I just said, Grandpa Joe. You just heard. I just called it a Wonkavator. Don't tell me it's an elevator.
In my
and that's
house.
that's not even an elevator, nigga. It's a spaceship. He's like, it goes up, sideways, slantways. That's not an elevator. You're in a spaceship. What are you talking about? This is a flying craft. Anyways, fuck Grandpa Joe.
So if I've got your top 3 most hated characters right, it's 3 Veruca Salt, 2 Willy Wonka who owns slaves, 3 Grandpa Joe who pretended to be.
God damn it! All right.
Damn, Quinn, you really out here with that own slave, boy.
You can see I'm
I
pre-building
honestly-
myself a defense until we get to my movie. But,
Yeah, exactly.
Aqua, do you have any takes on Willy Wonka? I mean, it's like we said, it's a classic film.
It's a classic film. So wait, I thought her name was Charlotte, but it's Veruca's one that's the blueberry?
No, that's Violet.
It's Violet.
Yeah.
Violet, you're turning violet.
Yeah,
Violet.
Fuck Violet. That's one. Okay.
Okay.
TV Timmy, he's just annoying as fuck.
I thought you were doing Fuck, Marry, Kill first.
Yeah. we definitely gonna marry him. He's 2. Her dad was also annoying as hell. And low key, Grandpa Joe, yeah, he's in there now. You brought up a very good point. Like, he was some ain't shit motherfucker just laying in bed the whole time.
And it's not like, not that this would make it better, but like Charlie's mom is a single parent. Like, there is no dad in the picture. So it's like, she needs some help. Like, she's doing the laundry and making the soup, and that's why it's soup laundry. I'm just saying, like, if you can walk, like, Grandpa Joe, just like have a paper. Like, just do something. We're not saying you have to work 12 hours a day. Just have like a little bit of income.
Help around the house. Why is she doing laundry? You know what I'm saying?
But
the
now-
other grandpa looked fucked up. Like, other grandpa looked old and fucked up. I wasn't worried about the other grandpa.
Oh, no,
But Grandpa Joe was still, he had some abilities.
He was bitch made. And then also now we got to add Charlie's dad for not being there. He ain't shit.
We don't know what happened to Charlie's
assume
dad.
Charlie's
He
dad
might
died.
be dead. I just feel like his life is so
You would
pitiful.
like to
He
assume,
probably
or
is
he
dead.
probably looked at Grandpa Joe and was like, you know what, baby, your daddy ain't shit. He's just going to bring me down. I'm out.
Yeah. Who is Grandpa Joe? Is he the daughter's grandpa or the dad's grandpa?
He's got to be the daughter's grandpa.
I feel like that's gotta. I feel like you're probably right.
I just feel like the husband had to have died because why would the other set of parents be there?
What's the footsie game going on?
Yeah, what was that?
It's like I'm next to my wife, but I like the feet. It's all in there. You're like, you don't know who's touching who under that bed.
She said all 4 of them had not left that bed in 20 years.
Yeah, which makes it, even if you were quote unquote faking it, if he's just been staying in that bed for 20 years, unless he's like going out for a 5K while everyone's asleep, his muscles would atrophy. There's no reason he should be able to stand after 20
And they
years.
kind of like play that a little bit at the beginning, like it's hard.
Yeah,
for him
he's
to walk,
wobbling a little bit.
wobbly, but
That's just for show.
yeah, this nigga starts singing and dancing, bro. What the fuck?
Also, the nicest thing Grandpa Joe does is let Charlie use. Wasn't it like his own birthday money to buy a chocolate bar for himself? That's why he takes him. It's like, you're the nicest grandparent I have. It's like, dude, that's your own money for your birthday. Buy as many. I also think there's a weird thing about gambling. Like, he's got such a 1 in a billion shot to get that candy bar in the movie. It pays off for him.
Oh.
But I feel like a lot of kids were like taught to really value long odds with this movie, because Charlie should have put that money into a savings account, sit on it for a while, let your money work for you.
This movie taught a lot of wrong lessons.
Right.
There were a
It
lot
really
of
did.
wrong lessons being
Like, how
taught
did he
in
not
this
get his ass whooped? Let's keep it a buck. If
Yeah.
everybody in the world is out for this golden ticket,
Mm-hmm.
and you see little scrawny ass Charlie saying, I want a ticket, and everybody's like, you won, run home, Charlie. Nah, bro, you supposed to be in the hood. Somebody will get you.
I will say this. That scene, even though I've seen this movie a bunch of times, I was watching it last night and I was like, I felt anxious. I had anxiety.
Yeah,
Right?
it is.
Nigga, get home, nigga. What do you do?
Why
That
are you
scene
waving
where all
that?
the people
Yeah.
are mobbing him is such a good scene.
Yeah.
It just, I feel like I'm him and I'm like, fuck, nigga, get out. Nigga, get out. Get
Like,
out.
that would not happen today. You could not be like, I won the lotto. It's the $700 million jackpot. People would be like, get home.
Nah, he didn't even say it. Shorty just came up and grabbed his arm. He's like, he's got the golden ticket.
He's also, you got to hold it like a running back. You got to keep that
Yes.
tight to the body. He's waving his hand around in the air over his head. Anyone, like a bird could come down and swoop that out.
Anyone could have came and got his ass.
I think it's because we see him have such a shitty life the entire movie leading up to that we expect something. He's going to fall in a manhole or something like that.
Something's got to happen. You can't make
When
it
he's
home.
running home, I'm like, that's just gonna fall out of his bag. Like, be holding it, Charlie. Where is the ticket? The whole time I was like, where is the ticket? Where is the ticket?
It would be funny if a movie called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory ended up with Charlie getting his ticket stolen and he just never gets to go. But that is a good point. So all right, so we'll come back to Willy Wonka. We'll intersperse these conversations. Will overlap, I'm sure. But let's move to my pick, Leonard. I'm gonna lead in. We've already described the lead in this movie. Acquah, I definitely want to have more thoughts from you, but I'm interested in you on this movie. But Leonard, I'm interested in you because having not seen it, I'm just gonna share a brief exchange of the text, because Leonard and I saw each other earlier this week. Leonard said, I'm going to watch these movies. I said, great, see you there.
Oh,
and
shit.
I got a text from Leonard.
First time.
Oh my God.
First time watching it. Having not seen it, I got a text from Leonard at 11:45 p.m. and he said, bruh, hard R in the first 2 minutes of this movie.
R-E-R.
And I said,
R-E-R. Just like instantly.
and I said, oh, it stays at that level. I was not trying to.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Trying to diminish anything. You were very forward.
Then the next text that you sent that really made me crack up was and now at this point, once you send that text, I'm realizing that I have suggested this movie to you, who has not seen it, and Acquah, who I do not know as well, who is black, and I've suggested this movie, and I'm like, did I just make a tremendously bad idea? 'Cause
Nope.
the next text that Leonard sends me, he says. And this is a scene for those who've seen the movie. There's that moment where Cleavon Little and I forget the name of his friend, that they're basically being made to work on the railroad.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
put them into quicksand with a railroad cart. You know, it's like a wheel
Push cart,
like a
like a
push
cart.
cart. Thank you. And so it gets caught in the quicksand with the two of them, and of course the white people come to save the push cart. And Leonard sent me a text where he just said, oh shit, where is it? You said, bruh, they saved the hand car. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be...
Look at my top note. Look at my top note.
So, for the first time ever, I wish we had some kind of like a Patreon live stream event where we could have just streamed you watching this movie and reacting to it in real time.
It would have been amazing.
Because I really am interested in what your journey was throughout this
That
movie.
literally is my top note, brother. Save the hand card from the quicksand instead of the
Isn't that
niggas.
also kind of like... we've talked about this
So
before,
smart.
and...
So smart.
We've talked about it, and this is like a nuanced take that would probably be better coming for you, but I think we agree with it, which is like if a movie's going... Like Django, I think we talked about it, which is a totally different kind of movie, but deals with similar things. If a movie's going to be racist and truly depict slavery, racist systems, whatever, it's weird where you see like the white guy be like, we don't like you black Americans, because it's like that's not what people say, right?
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like there's a truth in the art, and obviously comedy, they're exaggerating everything, but I feel like that hand car scene where they just save the hand car, you're like, this first of all feels correct. I feel like this probably may have happened back then, but the humor of it is like, it's not going to hit as hard if that joke is less than that. So yeah, what was your experience beyond those texts with this movie, Leonard? And then Acquah, I want to hear what you think about it too, but I just...
when I first saw that scene, I was just like, oh my God. This is I died when I saw that rope go around the car. I was like, oh.
Because they play it up like they're gonna save them. They're like, we got it.
I was just like, what is happening? They're in quicksand all of a sudden. But I mean, it plays into why they can't use the rail. They can't build the rail anymore that way. But yeah, bro, this threw me off. Like hard ER at the beginning, the F slur used at the beginning. They don't do that anymore. And it just happens at the beginning of the movie and never happens again. But I just thought it was super funny. I appreciated that it was authentic. I knew that this movie came out in the 70s, and I was just, when I was watching, I was thinking like, man, what would it must have been like being a person in 1974 watching this movie for the first time? Because like, not only, I mean, it was funny for them then, and they probably didn't think anything of it, but movies like this weren't being made. Like this was making fun of all those movies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't know if people saw it and thought it was funny just because they're making fun of them, or if they saw it and it was funny because like they're making fun of the overall of racism and that it's kind of comical or I don't know. But it was just the whole time I was watching, I was like, damn. What would this have been like watching this in the 70s? Because I know it was made then. So, but it's hard to watch a movie in 2023 and not think like that. But how I think now. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny throughout. There are many parts where I felt uncomfortable during the movie. Cannot deny that. But some of the things I wrote down that I thought was funny was when my boy was like, "Oh, land, you see that land?" When, he was like basically saying land, and when you see land, snatch it. Like just the white man's thought of like, "Oh, that land is now my land."
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was super fun. I just thought the whole plot was ridiculous. This movie is wacky as fuck, goofy as fuck. Where they try to send the old girl, the German girl,
Lily von Stupp,
to tempt him, and then she ends up falling in love with him. Yeah. I was like, yo, this is great.
The great Madeline Kahn in that performance, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, damn.
It's true.
Is it true what they say about you, black men? It's true. Oh, it's true.
Everyone hating the Irish when they were like, there's a part of the movie where
they all decide to team up before the end.
Yeah, except for the Irish, which I thought was funny. And then the fourth wall break.
Yeah. This movie is like one of the least serious movies of all time. And I mean, like, obviously, dealing with racial humor and the other, as a satire, that takes a certain, like, light touch maybe to, like, know that you're parodying something and not reinforcing it. But I also think, like, it's you're right. It's so not committed to any bit that they even, like, the third act of the movie happens, like, it's one of the first examples of meta that I can think in that way.
Yeah.
Like, it happens outside of me.
I wrote here in my notes, how can a movie be this goofy and this racist at the same time?
What are your thoughts on this movie, Acquah?
I think the movie's brilliant. It's definitely so well done, and it's ahead of its time. That's why I like that era, the 70s. I think a lot of the stuff that was coming out in the 70s was ahead of its time because they were calling out a lot of injustices, but they were like, we can't just say racism is bad because that's not going to, one, make money, and we're in this to make money, but two, what are we really trying to say behind this thing? So I felt like in the 70s, they were really smart about how they went about calling out stuff, how they went about calling out capitalism, greed, racism, all that stuff. And the fact that this movie kind of touches on all of it is so wild. And the way they just break the fourth wall, like you said, it's just like, that was also something that hadn't been done as blatantly before. I don't think I'd ever seen it. I don't know that I've seen too many directors and creatives take that freedom to go, we're going to break the fourth wall and just talk directly to the people right now. Yeah. Headley did that so many times. Mel does it. There's just so many little bits and pieces in this movie that are just so phenomenal. It's a great choice.
The stuff that sticks with me, like, and why, because I think I was probably, especially like in the, the kind of maybe more thoughtful racial climate of, I mean, that's maybe with quotes, but I guess like we were at least making an effort to be more thoughtful about race politics and stuff. So I probably saw this movie in the late 90s or the early 2000s for the first time. I'd rented it on video. But the parts that like as a 10-year-old or however old I was when I saw it that stuck out to me. I mean, definitely I was laughing at all those jokes that we've talked about. But like, is the stuff that tickles a 10-year-old is like the first time they open the window to tell the guy like they're about to hang Cleavon Little's character, but the guy can't because he's hanging a horse. Like there's some jokes and some things that are so bizarre. Cause like, yeah, like Hedley Lamarr, who's a great character. And that's itself, there was like an old film, a female film star called Hedy Lamarr, and they just named this character Hedley Lamarr, and they have that joke that like, cause the film takes place beforehand, that he'll be able to sue her. I think she did wind up suing them for like using their name. Like they correctly anticipated that she was not going to like that. But like it's one thing, like you say, to have like Harvey Korman or a character kind of like wink at the audience. We've seen that probably before, but this is like they were not only stepping out and having fights that spilled over into different studio lots before a time where I think that was even maybe commonly understood that that's how movies were made. But even then they were like at the premiere at the Chinese theater, like of the movie that they were watching. And that's how they put you back in. Like this is meta on a level that it doesn't even make sense, but it doesn't matter. Like it's completely lost all logic at that point.
You know,
and
wild.
Even like the Mongo character,
where
Mongo is
they
like
do a straight up Looney Tunes bit.
Yeah, and then he's just like, but Mongo is just a pawn in the game of life.
Yeah,
I was
no.
like, oh shit,
It's
Mongo.
deep.
Damn.
The first time I saw it, like I said, like you, I was a kid, so I didn't really get the jokes. But the second time, and I vividly will never forget seeing this, it was like a whole new world had been opened in my eyes. I was actually in college, and my boy was like, yo, we're going to the movies tonight. And I was like, bet, what are we going to see? And I thought he was going to say like the 300 because it was about the time the 300 came in. He's like, yo, the movies are doing this special thing. They're going to put on Blazing Saddles. It's like, Blazing Saddles, why do I know that? He's like, yo, you don't know it? I'm like, nah, I feel like I know it, but I can't quite, it's in my head, but I don't think I know it. He's like, oh, we're going. So we go to the theater, we get popcorn, we sneak in some Captain, some Cap Morgan spiced rum, we order 2 Cokes, we are drinking while watching Blazing Saddles in the theater, and I have not laughed that hard, I don't think, in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, it was a moment that, like, was just like, oh, shit, this is what movies can be. Yeah, I forgot about that, because we hadn't seen... I mean, we still don't see stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the way that they play with the nuances of racism. I mean, that one scene with Mel Gibson's like, he's walking over and he sees Cleavon. He's like, hey, do you know that man over there is a nick? Oh, you. And then he turns back around and then he comes back to the right white guy. He goes, you know that man is a nick? Like, he never said nick. He's just like, nick. But like, you were like, oh, he's about to say it. He's like, I don't say it. I'm not going to say it. Like, that type
I thought it
of
was
stuff.
funny that Mel Brooks wouldn't say it. I thought that was pretty interesting that he wouldn't say the full word.
How do you guys feel about the sheriff is near bit? I feel like
that shit's beautiful.
When he's riding into town for the first time and the old prospector sees him coming with the binoculars,
Timothy,
he's trying
the
to
sheriff
warn.
is a bing.
The sheriff is a bing. Bro, and
I
then
feel they have a lot of fun
and then
with not saying it as much as what they definitely do say it in the movie.
he holds himself hostage.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? That was so fucking silly, bro.
Or when the old lady was like, he's like, morning, ma'am. Isn't it great?
Oh,
Morning.
my.
Up yours, nigga. I was like,
Yo.
But then the immediate scene afterwards, you see Cleavon hurt. And Gene Wilder's like, well, what did you think?
Yeah.
These are simple folks. Morons. And he's like calling it, and it is like, yo, racism.
And Gene Wilder was so good in this.
was so brilliant.
But that also, though, that same, and that's why it's just so good. The same old woman brings him the apple pie, and she's like, "Oh, you're so great! Thank you for everything you did." Because he saves them, and the first time, and then she comes back, like waits a beat, comes back, and is like, "Now don't tell anybody that I did this." Oh my god, bro!
Like so many levels.
Dying, dude. But that fourth wall break, I was just like, "What is happening, bro?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's funny because this spends a lot of time, like I would say, maybe less so in the 70s, but watching it today, certainly. I had a recent experience, like within the past 3 years, maybe it was even after the pandemic, but they were putting it on. One of the nice things about living in LA is that they put on old movies on theaters, and I was like, so they were putting on Blazing Saddles at the New Beverly, and I was like, I got to see it because I want to see how it plays with an audience, and also like kind of not thinking about just how in it goes into racial stuff and if that would be weird. It wasn't. I don't remember the makeup of the crowd, but it seemed like everyone was laughing at all the right things, and it seemed like a real fun experience. But it's interesting to watch it in that context because when they do break the fourth wall, this is a movie that has been like kind of towing around some racial issues. And you mentioned they say an F slur early in the movie, Leonard. But then like it goes into just another wildly offensive thing with Dom DeLuise, where he's leading that orchestra of like men in
the
tuxedos.
choreographed number.
Throw out your hands.
Oh,
Lift up your tush. Da-da-da-da.
What are you doing? Dancing like a bunch of Kansas City. Yeah.
So it's like the movie is like at no time when they even like a scene as innocent as the food fight in the cafeteria. There's like a Hitler in the background, Zeke Heiling while it's going on.
Yeah.
Like they're like, let's just make this more offensive than it needs to be because whatever. And I'm not defending it when they're like, well, they go after everyone. I think they go after some people more than it, but like it. I think if you can get on that wavelength, it's very.
That food fight scene was goofy as fuck.
It's sillier than it is mean, which is maybe why I feel like,
it was like
and all the characters
Python-esque, basically. He like when Hadley walks out and he sees everyone, and then he slides back into the bathroom, and then he comes out with still more pie on his face.
Yes, yeah, just the sliver of door that he opens is just covered in pie.
I think that was like when and I just should have just said bigoted, but when that fourth wall break is when I wrote the note, like, how can this movie be so goofy and racist and bigoted at the same time? It's just funny. It's interesting.
And then it would also do shit like that scene where they're all just around the fire eating beans and they're farting. Like there is no joke too low or too like, kind of what we might call like lower common denominator humor that it won't go after. But I think it has a cumulative effect, like movies like Airplane or whatever, where it's just going to keep hitting you until you kind of start laughing. I don't know of anyone who's seen this movie and is like,
and the only
didn't
like
make me laugh at all.
The woman you see the most is the racist old woman and the woman with her breast out the entire time.
The secretary.
Titties out the whole time.
Yeah, the most prominent female role in this movie goes to a character named Lily von Stupp.
That's right. Lily von Stupp is the most prominent.
Which is German for fuck.
Who gets stigmatized.
You know the Stupp is fuck.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, Lily von fuck. Like it's such a like that's just so smart though, and like you said, no one's spared. Which is kind of one of those things where it's like, I think that's why it works. Is because no one is safe. Literally no one, whatever your sexual orientation is, skin color, they got everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why maybe it gets a pass.
And like I feel like the most racist guy in the movie is like the dumbest guy in the movie also.
Yeah, all the characters that say the N-word are unequivocally bad characters. Yeah. Like Gene Wilder never says it, for example, because he's in that sense, I guess they knew what they were, let's not make that. But yeah, I mean, I can also definitely see the arguments about why someone would not be comfortable finding this movie for the first time. But I feel like three of us interested in comedy, I feel like that was also, I was like, I think this is, and we'll get to how the picks go. Maybe we should get into our criteria, Leonard. But when you said in your prompt, which I mentioned earlier, you're like, they could get away with more stuff then. I was like, what's the movie? Once I read that, I was like, it's got to be Blazing Saddles. This movie tries to get away with everything. You could argue how effective it is, but like they absolutely are like, let's just try to get away with whatever's taboo in 1974. We're going to try to comment on it. Mm-hmm. So let's lead that into Acquah. We have a patented, you're going to eventually, this is why we have you guest, not just to get the last lemon pepper wet infinity ring, but because we need someone to infinity stone. Never mind, I messed it up. But we have a patented 5-step system which you don't have to take into account at all, but we like to put these films through. We've been doing it since we started. We talk about these films under these current I'm way too overdoing it. Let's talk about the first one, which is just pop cultural impact. Pop culture impact. We've been talking about it, but now we can talk about.
I mean, I feel like Blazing Saddles, pop culturally wise, like, I don't think Chappelle's Show would exist probably without a Blazing Saddles type movie. I'm sure this is probably one of the first of its ilk of like this style, but it's impossible. I don't think Willy Wonka is everywhere. Everyone knows Willy Wonka. Charlie and the Chocolate. I still haven't seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because fuck that.
I think you're right. Like Blazing Saddles, I think has moments like where are all the white women at and stuff that like maybe you would know without even knowing. And also that scene where the Klansmen have like smiley faces on the back of them. He's like trying to rub off. Oh, that's just a bit of dirt. Let me get that. But like I think you're probably right. Like there are moments in Blazing Saddles that people who maybe have not seen the movie are like where are all the white women at? They're like, oh, I know that though. What's that from? Like, you were just talking about like, why do I know Blazing Saddles? But I think
there was something from that. Wait, what did you say was from Men in Tights?
Oh, a black sheriff.
Oh no, there's another line in this movie. I was like, holy shit, that's from this movie.
There's a bunch.
There was a movie. I just remember like one point in the movie, I was like, holy shit, I did not know that was from this movie.
Yeah,
I can't remember it now.
But I think like that you're right that Willy Wonka is its own thing. Like it's first of all it was a Roald Dahl book which was popular, but I agree that the Gene Wilder movie is probably the most popular version of it. And I mean definitely more popular than the Johnny
Didn't
Depp
see
one.
it.
Yeah, which
I don't think I can.
not worth anyone's time. That's just like a prime example of why you shouldn't remake like a perfect movie, which I think Willy Wonka is for what it's trying to do. I mean, it's like just Willy Wonka is the pop cultural thing. I mean, this is a fake candy maker who has real candy in the world right now.
Yeah.
Like, so it's hard to. I mean, I think Violet becoming a big blueberry, Augustus and the chocolate, like
The
every scene,
raspberries
just the
taste
whole
like-
the room of
The
candy, the room
snozberries
that's
taste
entirely
like
made of candy,
snozberries.
the boat scene. Can we talk about the boat scene?
Oh my
for a
God, we
second?
haven't talked about the
Trippiest
boat
thing
scene.
ever.
Yeah. That boat scene's not. I don't think, or if it's in
People
the book,
have specifically taken drugs just to watch this movie.
But that boat scene gets a little dark. I was like, watching that as a kid, I was like,
Don't they do like that like very popular like film reel footage of like a fox decaying and
Yeah.
maggots eating it over time? Like they have like some fucked up
Oh, yeah.
images
Yeah.
that flash by in that scene.
Very fucked up. This movie is rated G.
All the while, like Gene Wilder's like reciting some kind of weird like tone poem, and it's very.
I mean, we also where he's first showing them the everlasting gobstopper machine. That pose is the meme. Like that meme is been memed so many times of him just like
Oh yes, and I would say to the Blazing Saddles
and
credit,
Oompa Loompas.
your very good recitation of these are common clay of the West, morons. I've seen that used in political discourse on Twitter or on whatever. I feel like that's kind of its own. If it's not a meme, it's like a clip that I've seen people use. And apparently that line Gene Wilder ad-libbed it, and when he says that, Cleavon Little like breaks. Like literally, it's like he says morons, he goes.
there are
and it's
so
like
many
that's like
moments
a
in that
real,
film.
and that's like I feel like that adds to the because you really feel like they have great chemistry together.
They were
Cleavon
friends.
Little and Gene Wilder. They feel
They
like
were
they were tight.
absolute friends, which is what I loved about that movie. I don't know how the cast of Willy Wonka was throwing down, but Gene and Cleavon were legit
Grandpa Joe and Charlie
friends.
did not get along.
Hated each other.
They had to film all their scenes separate days.
The second one is
Oh wait,
how
can I leave one? Sorry, I know we're running, but I have to mention it, or else there's a certain faction of our listenership that won't let me get away with it. In 8th grade, I was in the school play, not the musical, school play. We did not put on Blazing Saddles. We put on Willy Wonka. And
You didn't sing?
Guess who was Willy Wonka?
You?
It was your boy. It was Willy Wonka in the 8th grade Roosevelt Intermediate Westfield, New Jersey production of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Give us a
Factory.
line. Give us a line.
Oh God, what's the? I mean, I'm pulling from the. I'd say, fuck. Here's all right. I'm gonna give you this is not what you want, but this is the scene. The Violet, you're turning Violet scene. There was a girl who was playing that role, playing Violet's mom, who could not. She didn't understand what that line was, and like you guys are both actors. You understand when you read a line. Well, it's not even just acting. It's just punctuation. Like if you read, it's Violet, you're turning Violet, comma, Violet. Have I talked about this on one of our earlier pods? Okay.
Yeah.
So the first Violet is the name. The second Violet is the color. The third Violet is the name again. Violet, my daughter, you're turning Violet, the color. Violet. I know this is like rudimentary shit, but she could not understand. So she would deliver a line every time. And this is why I couldn't even remember one of my lines. She'd go, Violet, you're turning Violet, Violet. And she'd deliver it like that. And we're in 8th grade. We're kids, but it's like you understand how. Like you could also have just seen the movie. And so she was talking to her, and our director, our stage director, was trying to get her without saying like, "Listen, dummy, it's the color, it's the name, and then the color, and then the name." And so like from the first rehearsal to the day that we debuted in front of the middle school, she just said, "Violet, you're turning Violet, Violet," like it's like double Violet or something. And I've never been able to watch that movie or hear that line without thinking of the worst line reading I've ever heard in my life, which is that.
Wow.
So I just had to throw that in.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
Some
if
people
anything,
aren't
that supports
cut
Leonard's
out.
pick, but
Some people aren't cut out.
some people are not. Yeah, I don't think she's in much today.
Is she in Hollywood right now?
Yeah, no.
Watch her be on Broadway.
Is she at the
Watch her be on Broadway right now laughing at
That
us.
woman was Leia Michelle. All right. So moving on to our second. This will be the interesting conversation, Leonard. Our second
How
criteria. How well
well
does this hold up?
does it hold up?
Oh, man.
Aqua, I want your take on these movies. I mean, and by the way, we tell this to every guest. How well does it hold up can mean like I didn't think this was funny anymore. It can mean like this is offensive now.
the
It can mean
writing,
whatever. Yeah. So you can interpret that
acting.
however you choose. But how do you think these movies hold up?
Blazing Saddles still holds up. Racism's still a thing today. Capitalism's still a thing today. White people are still stealing land today.
I was invited here.
Yeah. Sure. Willy Wonka, it don't hold up. It's pedophile. It gives me pedophile. It does. I don't know if I can say that.
Ooh, which character?
Willy.
Oh, no.
His name is
not
Willy.
Not
Bruh.
Willy. Willy hated them kids. Willy didn't like them kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like Willy, because Willy hated the kids. Who gave you the pedophile cards was the candy shop owner. The Candyman kid.
Yeah.
He gave off pedophile
man.
vibes.
You hate kids, but you inviting kids and you making candy all the time.
He was looking for a new
Heir.
owner. Yes, a new heir, because he wasn't having children because he hates children.
Mm-hmm. Does he?
Nah, I don't like that.
How does it hold? I don't know about hold up, but like I know that if you remake this movie today, you probably don't cast 5 white kids as the 5 kids.
100%.
You know what I mean?
There are no black people in this
It sounds
movie.
weird to say that there aren't enough black kids being tortured in this, because that's what all the kids go through
Yeah.
when they go to that factory. and
Yeah,
yet
I don't know if you know
there's
this,
no-
but Willy Wonka would not sell chocolate to black children.
Another reason why it doesn't hold up.
I feel like you're right though. Slugworth, every time a kid wins a thing, Slugworth like grabs him by the arm and starts whispering very intimately in their ear. It's like,
so
get away
funny
from those
that
kids, man.
Slugworth,
creepy.
like
How's he
you
always there?
reveal that it's revealed at the end that he works for Willy. He's not really Slugworth. But like when you're watching, like, how the fuck does Slugworth know where all these tickets at? That
Yeah.
boy just be popping up where
If
every
he
time
used
somebody get a
half
ticket.
of his resources on pulling these kids aside and scaring them to just backwards manufacture these chocolate bars.
And he looks creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
It doesn't hold.
He's
I
like grabbing
can't
him in
see it.
alleyways.
Yeah, no, I can't see it.
I
holding
mean,
up.
I feel like Blazing Saddles holds up for just the jokes. Some of it is pretty elementary. Some of it is pretty,
Yeah.
hacky. But it was the 70s, so. But other than that, I still feel. I mean, obviously, the 70s, they're gonna say the N word. They're gonna say the F word.
It's like that thing where it's like, don't step a toe over the line. Like you jumped on the other side and you're dancing on it. So it's like we can talk about every single thing in Blazing Saddles.
But
It's
I
like,
could,
should
I
you do
could
this
get,
today?
I could
But-
understand why people would not like it or want to
Yeah.
watch it. But I'm a comedian, so it's like.
Well, it's interesting when you were talking about seeing it, Acquah, like, and I having seen it in a theater, like, part of me was like, it's always that Chappelle show thing when he stopped doing Chappelle show, because it's like, we all get the joke, but are you laughing too hard at the part of it? And I think a lot of that discourse is like, it's hard to say why someone's laughing. It's hard for you to tell me why I'm laughing or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand if you saw that in a movie and it's like, oh, a lot of these jokes, like saving that. I don't know if they are like getting.
And that's what I was saying
understand that
about
kind
someone
of-
in the
yeah.
70s watching it. Like,
Right. Isn't this
a woke-
hilarious how they save the hand card?
Exactly.
Because, or whatever.
Like, it's like there are people who got it and understood the satire, but there are probably people who were just like, ha ha ha. That's what they had to play to both audiences. So it's just kind of like, it
wonder
is
if a
kind of
racist would
pandering,
enjoy
but it's
that movie.
also commentary.
I think they would, but also you got to
Yeah.
remember the 70s was a different vibe. You
Exactly.
could definitely say a lot more.
Oh,
I mean,
exactly. Yeah,
and
all this was
there
normal.
were rated R in the 70s. Well, how PG? It felt like PG-13 in the 70s. It's like NC-17 now.
I mean, if you go back in like Archie Bunker and all the family and Jeffersons, like they in the movie. There's a whole episode of the Jeffersons where Jefferson is mad that his son is dating that his son's gonna marry this girl who has mixed parents.
I saw that episode. Yep.
Yeah.
I've seen that. And that's when Archie Bunkle's in there.
And
He's in that.
him and Archie are just like, this ain't right. And
Yeah,
it was
we
just
miss the old days.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
like-
and that was on national television. It's just like that's
You
what it
could
was
do
back then.
more in the 70s, which is another reason why I chose that era. I was like, the 70s were a wild time,
Yeah.
not just for comedy, but just in general. And I
Yeah.
feel like it really did lay a lot of groundwork for cinema moving forward for the next 2 decades and what the 80s was doing, what the 90s were doing, which is why I think Blazing Saddles will probably still hold up today. I mean, granted, if Willy Wonka had never been done again with that very creepy version that came out, I just can't see it doing as well just because of the story. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to watch a kid who's poor win a magical ticket to go to a chocolate factory. It's been done.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, parodies have been done, but like, when you get to parodies where it's like, well, how do we parody this so hard that it will bring the people in? And by the people, we mean everyone. Oh, but we just hit everything.
Yeah.
We hit everything and we go meta. I mean, when he came out in the Gucci suit, I said to myself, do you remember that Gucci cowboy suit? Cleavon has a Gucci cowboy suit at the end. And I swear to God, I said to myself, yo, when I get on, I'm going to go to a red carpet and I'm going to recreate that Gucci cowboy suit.
Yeah. Come in on a horse, man. It's a shame. Cleavon Little, rest in peace. He passed away in 1992. It's a shame that this is like kind of the only thing I know him from. I feel like there's maybe something, or maybe there, but
Yeah, he did some other things, but this was like
this was his. And I think also if we were to make a defense of this movie, it doesn't work. Like Gene Wilder is amazing. It's kind of a two-hander, but like Cleavon Little is the main character in this movie, and I feel like that. Like you're saying, like it's a 70s, it's like we're going to tell all sorts of off-color jokes, but also how often does like a kind of a big studio comedy from Mel Brooks feature a black lead, you know? And so like you kind of have to look past like all of the noise of the super offensive jokes, admittedly, to get to the point that I think this movie was a good, it feels progressive, certainly for its time. And we can argue, I guess, about if it isn't today, although I think we're mostly on the same page. Leonard, I did not see the Willy Wonka is a pedophile thing coming up to submarine your pick. That was Acquah's opinion, but I definitely see it. I think the more recent one is super pedophile vibes.
Okay,
I get your point.
I don't think there are any pedophile or groomer vibes at
Go
all.
with this
from
eccentric
movie
man,
at all.
children.
Yeah. No.
What?
He hates those kids. He didn't give a fuck about those kids. He wasn't trying to do shit with those kids.
Do you think Charlie even goes back to his house to get his grandparents after he's given the factory, or he
fuck
just
them
is
grandparents.
like, nah?
he set up.
All right, now comes to the most important criteria. Most important question. Was Stephen Root in either one of these movies?
Stephen Root, popular character actor. We're kind of doing him dirty by picking a films that came out when he was only in his 20s. But
well, he was in his 20s. He could have played.
He could have been.
He was not in. Unfortunately, he was not in either one of these.
We
movies.
may know him as Milton from Office Space. Where's My Stapler? He's in Barry. He's been in everything, but I don't think he's in Blazing Saddles. It's a little early for Milton.
Boardwalk Empire. He also is the judge in Idiocracy.
Oh, brother, where art thou? Dodgeball. This guy.
He's
works.
been in a few of the movies that we've done. We've done Dodgeball. We've done Idiocracy.
Great movie. Shout out to Maya Rudolph.
Shout out to Maya. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Acquah and his.
Oh yeah,
Eminem. We can say it now because it'd be out by now, right?
It actually, I don't know, man. It had me nervous when they. No, real shit. I don't know if you saw that when they decided to get rid of the candies.
Yeah,
and they replaced them with Maya. People lost their shit.
Yep.
And I was like, yo, are they about to scrap my commercial with Maya Rudolph because motherfuckers are mad about the candy?
Nah, they probably paid her too much money. Bro.
I really hope not. I hope the Maya and Yas come out.
Nah, because I saw Maya. There's a commercial. I've already seen a Maya commercial.
Yeah, there's already one out saying, I know you guys are kind of mad that I've gotten rid of the candies, but everyone loves me. And I'm like, yeah, we do. Plus, run that shit so I can get paid.
Yeah.
I'm in a commercial with Maya Rudolph. And it's going to be amazing. And I hope it runs all year so that I can pay for a house.
Well, Stephen Root wasn't in either one of these. Maya Rudolph was not in
Was he in either of your
these.
Super Bowl commercials?
He was not in my Super Bowl
Okay.
commercial.
All right. Damn shame. We'll get to Stephen Root. We always get to them
we'll
at
get
one
to
point
him.
or another.
He would have been in Blazing Saddles, though. He could have been a cowboy.
Oh, he absolutely would have been.
I feel like he's interesting enough that he could have been on Willy Wonka himself if you've seen some of his characters.
Okay.
But nobody can beat the GOAT.
How about that moment where they're all on the horse and they have to go by the toll? They're like on open plains, but they all file through the toll booth, which they set up.
Oh my god!
I could see Stephen Root like leading that group of bandits.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now we stats.
Now we have stats. All right.
Stats.
Do you want to? How do you want to do this one? Do you have any pulled up? I can talk about.
I have Willy Wonka pulled up.
All right, you go, and then I'll go Blazing Saddles.
All right, so Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is a 7.8 on IMDb. Honestly, that's not that bad.
No, that's great. Upper tier.
Yeah, no, it's not super, and then a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
So, let me see if that's
Honestly, that feels low. I feel like who objects to Willy Wonka and the chocolate?
Yeah, 91% tomato meter, 87% audience score. It cost. Let me see these numbers. The budget was $3 million.
Oh, wow. That's low.
I know. It's actually more than Blazing Saddles, and it made $4 million in the box office. So it made $1 million.
Movies were so different before, like the age of blockbusters. That you make a movie for $3 million and it makes $4 million, and it's one of the most like. I don't wait.
Yeah, in the box office it made $4 million, but like I'm sure over time it made a shit ton of money.
No doubt, but I'm almost doubting that figure. I don't want to second guess because it's like how could that movie have only made? Yeah, well then I believe you, but that seems wild. Nobody was seeing Willy Wonka. Budget
I believe
3.
that.
So it made back its money, and that's
what I feel like. A lot of people saw Willy Wonka. A movie ticket back then was like $1 or some shit.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I guess like I don't know. That still feels like how can a movie only make $3 million and be this level of classic?
But also think about this movie coming out in '71. People weren't ready for this shit. People weren't ready for Willy Wonka in '71.
Willy Wonka,
they weren't ready for that. Man, they weren't ready for Oompa Loompas.
Are you sure?
Their minds weren't open enough for that.
Are you sure?
Psychedelics was just becoming a thing. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. Aqua's not buying it.
I don't know about that one, bro.
All right, you got the Blazing.
I'll say Blazing Saddles. Very similar movies in terms of when they came out and how they wrote. So you said Willy Wonka had 7.8 on IMDb. Blazing Saddles have 7.7.
Wow.
That is a negligible difference, I would say.
I would say that's racism.
Well, your box office numbers are crazy.
It was made. That's what I'm saying. It was made for $2.6 million, more or less the same that Willy Wonka was made for, and it made $119.6 million at the box office. That's why I'm like, how could Willy Wonka make this little?
Something's off with that Willy Wonka stat, bro. It's not looking good for you.
We may have to fire our research department. Which is Austin. we have former guest Austin research these movies.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory made $475 million, but
for what?
Charlie.
That's the new one. That's the
new one.
You know, stats is never that important a part of our show, so we can leave it as is. But I do think it's interesting. Oh, you gave Rotten Tomatoes. Let me give you the Rotten Tomatoes for Blazing Saddles while you're being confused. Rotten Tomatoes gives Blazing.
Bro, every number I'm seeing is saying it made $4 million. That's crazy.
Maybe it was an accounting scheme, like they siphoned off the top and they used it to fund.
There's a list: top 10 classic films that totally flopped at the box office.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I believe it.
That. You believed it.
I believe it.
Yeah, people weren't ready for that shit.
Well, it looks like you picked a piece of shit, Leonard. Blazing Saddles has an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's wow. Low. Shawshank Redemption flopped at the box office.
I believe it.
Give us the rest of the bombs.
All right, I'll give you the rest of the bombs. I hear the bombs. Blade Runner.
What?
Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Shawshank. Citizen Kane.
Okay.
Fight Club.
Oh yeah, they spent way too much money on Fight Club.
A $37 million budget, and it made. Wait, no, it made. Holy shit! It made $37 million, and the budget was $63 million.
Yeah, they spent way too much money on Fight Club.
I would have paid that money just to see Brad Pitt's abs.
Wow, it only made $37 million. They spent $63. That's crazy. Wizard of Oz. It's a Wonderful Life. Donnie Darko.
Wizard of Oz did not bomb.
Donnie Darko bombed because of an explosion. The world 9/11 happened right before Donnie Darko came out. And there's the plane thing. Raging Bull, Once Upon a Time in America is the top 10 movies.
Okay.
Great movies that flopped in the box office.
And those
did not know that. That's interesting. Interesting for the stats. And you said, what was the tomato for Blazing Saddles?
89.
Which is woefully
low.
low.
Real same numbers except for the money made.
Very samey. Except everyone was seeing Blazing Saddles and no one was seeing Willy Wonka. Maybe Willy Wonka was controversial back then.
But here's the thing.
You could do a movie with the N-word and all those slurs, but you do a movie about a
probably
chocolatier.
helped Blazing Saddles because they're like, oh, Gene Wilder was just new on the scene. You know what I'm saying?
He is like he and it's funny because they remade Willy Wonka, but he's like in all these roles. It's like you can't have anyone else do these roles.
You really can't.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked a lot about these movies. I've enjoyed these conversations. Leonard, it's time for you and I to fade into the background momentarily. While Acquah, the floor is yours. All we ask is you've heard our argument. Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. What am I doing?
I'm like, what are you doing?
I had the whole season off. We have to make our final arguments, and then Acquah, we're going to ask you to pick based on our arguments or based on your own opinion. You don't have to be swayed by us. What you think is the best pick for best 70s comedy. Leonard, would you like to go first or second?
You won last season. It's your choice.
Okay. I'll go first.
Okay.
Because I feel like you need it. So I get the impression that well, I'm not gonna assume anything, but let's just say, Acquah, if you happen to favor my pick, which was Blazing Saddles over Leonard's of Willy Wonka, then I would be in agreement. Well, because I love Willy Wonka, and that is a classic childhood film that I've seen, and I still enjoy it. I don't think it's just a kid's movie. I think it's good. I think it holds up. Probably sounds like maybe more than you do, Acquah, but I think if we were talking about, and this will be the whole crux of my argument, best 70s comedy, I haven't really hit you, Leonard, on the fact that though Willy Wonka has some funny scenes and it's light and it's, whatever, it is categorized. I don't think it's categorized. Here we go on IMDb, which I have pulled up, as 3 things that they have in the genres: family, fantasy, and musical. And I think that's all true. Blazing Saddles, comedy, Western. And I just think from a technical point of view, one of these movies is absolutely a comedy, and we're talking 70s comedy where you could get away with everything and things are a little grimier. I think it's got to be Blazing Saddles, walking away. But now it's I cede my time to you.
I'll say this: when that little boy fell in that chocolate river, I laughed. When that little girl fell down that egg trap into the trash chute, Veruca Salt, I laughed. Okay, when that little boy got shrunk, I laughed. Okay, when Grandpa Joe got up and started dancing, I was pissed. All right. Maybe the laughs were here and there, a little sparse, The Oompa Loompas, they were funny, all right? I'll say that. Blazing Saddles, very funny. Not gonna lie. Not gonna diminish that. But I will say this. You might be March if you're listening, but right now in this moment in time, it's Black History Month. I'm a black man. Acquah, I need you to do a reverse quiz, Chris, and pick the wrong movie.
There's no black people. I can't hold it. There's no black people in Willy Wonka.
Austin, shut the hell up.
Wait a minute. First of all, what did Chris do?
Chris, my movie was the better movie.
He's going to try to get you to relitigate old arguments. That's not what we're here
Chris
for.
knew my movie was the better movie, but in spite, chose Quinn's movie over mine.
Chris is a spiteful motherfucker.
I picked Scary Movie for best Regina Hall film, and Chris spent the whole time correctly telling me what a trash pick that was, and then he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to give it to you anyway because I don't like Leonard." So,
as I said, Chris is a spiteful. I love Chris. He's spiteful. What was your movie, Leonard?
Mine was
you can't even remember it.
No, it was About Last Night.
Yeah, with Kevin Hart,
which is great.
Yep.
Great movie. Great movie. Anyways, yeah, it's tough.
So your pitch is pick the wrong movie for the right reasons. That's compelling. It is Black History Month as we record this.
I mean, we've known.
But you also have a Super Bowl commercial, and I don't.
Before this episode started, I think we knew Acquah had his mind made up on one of these, and I figured out which one it was throughout the episode. So, Acquah, give us your final decision.
You can say the
process,
pick, or the floor is yours. You can talk for as long as you'd like about it.
I'm definitely gonna talk. I'm a little disappointed, Leonard, my guy. It was a comedy, and Willy Wonka is not a fucking comedy. Is not. Ain't shit funny to me. Like, thank you, Austin. It's not. And the fact that in Black History Month, you pick a white savior movie filled with slavery and questionable judgment with children, and then have the nerve to look at me, sir, and say, "Brother, you gotta pick the right one." Shame on you, sir. And shame on you, Quinn, for Black History Month. Picking a movie where they say nigga 50 million times within 3 seconds, sir. So shame on both of you motherfuckers.
Yeah, I should have chose Cheech and Chong. I should have chose Cheech and Chong. I made it. I haven't seen that movie, that many movies from the 70s,
I know,
man.
that's because you have blind spots. Because Gene Wilder made a ton of great movies in the 70s with Richard Pryor. But
No, they're all in the 80s. They're all in the 80s.
Not Silver Streak, which I incorrectly called Blue Streak.
Yes.
But yeah.
That was a blind spot.
There are so many that you could have chosen. And the whole reason why I chose there was like, this is great. Y'all can go ham. Both of you motherfuckers love going ham on some shit.
Well, I learned Blazing Saddles today. I hadn't even seen Blazing Saddles. I mean,
Which is a phenomenal movie.
So let me guess, that's your choice?
No, you don't do that. Don't do that. Because it's Black History Month. You're not finna have me jumped in these streets because you famous.
Hold on. Okay.
Shit, I gotta watch my back, Quinn. You know how hard that is? When your man's in a Super Bowl commercial, Diddy knows him. He got Diddy's phone number now.
Yeah.
Diddy's texts were so big. his bubbles.
Wait, Diddy's texting you?
No, his bubbles like on his iMessage were
he's got
huge.
like the parent in the
Damn,
60s.
I should have said that.
You're not making the band now.
So Diddy got the 14 Pro Max, and he's got the magnification on 10.
And he only
hit the code to
communicates
get
in,
into
like,
his phone was just 00000.
Oh no!
Diddy-o.
And he only texts in Michael Scott office memes. That's
Oh no. But I digress. Yeah, the winner. I have to choose Cleavon Little.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there.
I have to. I have to for Black History Month. But also, come on, man. What is my Twitter handle? Look at my Twitter handle right now.
Cleavon's
Cleavon Little's grandson.
That's what it is.
yeah. And I didn't know that, but
I hadn't seen Blavin. I didn't know what that meant.
Man.
My Twitter handle is literally Cleavon Little's grandson.
Have you been told that you had was that self-appointed? Or
No, that's self-appointed.
I
love. Listen, Cleavon Little's performance in Blazing Saddles is one of my top 10 performances from any actor.
Yeah.
Like, he was so phenomenal in that, and I was like, that man did not get his flowers.
Yeah.
I always felt like we didn't give him enough love while he was here, and so that's why I changed mine to Cleavon Little's grandson, and that's why I'm aware of that Gucci suit when I go to a red carpet. I think he was a phenomenal actor. Comedic timing was impeccable, and he carried that whole movie because those jokes don't fly without Cleavon. They don't. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of white people trying, to say some racist stuff. But the way he handled it was such what's the word? Like just the class that any other black man has to handle it in real time. Like that was part of the bit, and what was part of the funny is that you watch that and you go, yeah, I've been in that situation. Yeah, someone's definitely said nigga to me, and I've been like, do I shoot this bitch? No, I gotta be cool. I gotta take the high road. He always had to take the high road. Always. And in the hand truck part, it's like, I'm gonna do it, don't do it. Nah, baby. I gotta do it. Baby.
Yeah, when he hits him with the shovel.
Yes.
It was great.
It was
I was like, hold on, wait, what is happening? And it's like, oh, he's getting hung. Okay. Okay.
It's like, oh yeah, consequences. Shit.
I will say this, it was dope seeing the fourth wall break and then seeing him on the lot, and then like I'm like, damn, I drove down this road. It just felt cool, like seeing that. I was like, oh, I drove down this road all the goddamn time in Burbank,
Burbank.
like right there. All right, well, that was great. This was a fun episode.
Thank you. Yeah, these were two very. I was excited to talk about these movies, and when I found out you hadn't watched it, after I was afraid that you were gonna come to my house and beat me up, because suddenly the fact that it was Black History Month dawned on me, and I was like, I just picked the movie with the most N-words maybe of all time, and I said, watch this. But I'm glad that you've seen this movie, because I feel like our comedy, we started this podcast because our influences in movies overlap more than we would think, and sometimes they don't, but also our comedy is how we know each other primarily, and I feel like this was I'm glad that you've now seen this movie and I was able to hear your thoughts on it. And Acquah, I think you spoke very eloquently about Cleavon, which I'm glad that we shine some light on him and in the movie in general, and I found it delightful that you think that Willy Wonka is like a groomer movie, which is a new take.
No, he's not. He hated those kids.
You keep saying that, but it doesn't change shit.
He hated those kids.
If you hate kids, why you got a candy factory? Listen, what Cat Williams say?
God blessed him with those talents.
What did Cat Williams say about what is it? I think it's
Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Why would you have?
Why you have a Ferris wheel? Kids like this shit. Yeah. But he had Oompa Loompas. He was fucking the Oompa Loompas, not the kids. Anyways, Acquah, where can the people find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Acquah Dansoh, also seen as Cleavon Little's grandson. You can find me on Instagram under Acquah Dansoh. You can find me with them boys, Lemon Pepper Wet, second Friday at UCB.
8:30.
Come check us out.
Every second Friday at 8:30.
It's the Blackity Black show. And then you can also see us at Holy Shit Improv
third Monday at 8 o'clock.
We out Lake here. Lounge. Subscribe to the Patreon. Shout out to all the homies that support us. Holy Shit, UCB. Cleavon Little's estate, I love you. Gene Wilder's estate, we love you. Shout out to the snacks we've been eating. Skinny Pop, you know what it is. Leonard's shirt, I don't eat ass.
Yes, shout out to
Stop
Leonard's
asking me.
I am no longer beefing with Uber. Get them M&Ms.
Check out Leonard's home cooking comedy.
Oh, yeah, every
where
Wednesday.
If you happen to be going to the show 3 or 4 weeks before this episode drops, you will see Leonard's shirt, and they will get to wear it again. But thank you both for being. Thanks everybody for having this conversation, and everybody for listening. We will see you at the cinema.
Oh yeah, and shout out the Bronx Bombers. We gotta give it out to Quinn's team.
Hell yeah.
Boo!